أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذ قال إبراهيم رب اجعل هذا البلد آمنا واجنبني وبني أن نعبد الأصنام رب إنهن أضللن كثيرا من الناس فمن تبعني فإنه مني ومن عصاني فإنك غفور رحيم ربنا إني أسكنت من ذريتي بواد غير ذي زرع عند بيتك المحرم ربنا ليقيموا الصلاة فاجعل أفئدة من الناس تهوي إليهم وارزقهم من الثمرات لعلهم يشكرون ربنا إنك تعلم ما نخفي وما نعلن وما يخفى على الله من شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء الحمد لله الذي وهب لي على الكبر الحمد لله الذي وهب لي على الكبر إسماعيل وإسحاق إن ربي لسميع الدعاء رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب ولا تحسبن الله غافلا عما يعمل الظالمون إنما يؤخرهم ليوم تشخص فيه الأبصار صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اور محمد وآل محمد صلوات. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. تیرا چہرہ تیری آنکھیں بھول کب پائی حسین. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. چلتے ناکے سے گرایا خود کو جلتی ریت پر. چلتے ناکے سے گرایا خود کو جلتی ریت پر. گھٹنیوں کے بل میں تیری لاش تک آئی حسین. بس میں گھبرائی تھی خنجر تجھ پہ چلتا دیکھ کر. بس میں گھبرائی تھی خنجر تجھ پہ چلتا دیکھ کر. پھر کسی مشکل میں گھر کر میں نہ گھبرائی حسین. کون تھا جو مرنے والوں میں نہیں تھا خون برو. کون تھا جو مرنے والوں میں نہیں تھا خون برو. بھولنے بیٹھی تو کس کس کی نہ یاد آئی حسین. بہہ رہے تھے آنکھ سے آنسو تیری رخصت کے وقت. بہہ رہے تھے آنکھ سے آنسو تیری رخصت کے وقت. پھر کوئی آنسو نہ ٹپکا آنکھ پتھرائی حسین. پھر کوئی آنسو نہ ٹپکا آنکھ پتھرائی حسین، آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین، ہاتھ میں کوزے لیے سب آسمان تکتے رہے، ہاتھ میں کوزے لیے سب آسمان تکتے رہے، ابر نے ایک بوند پانی کی نہ برسائی حسین، دور افتادہ سفر سے لوٹ کر میں نے نوید، دور افتادہ سفر سے لوٹ کر میں نے نوید، ٹھنڈا پانی جب پیا بس تیری یاد آئی حسین، ٹھنڈا پانی جب پیا بس تیری یاد آئی حسین، آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین، تیرا چہرہ تیری آنکھیں بھول کب پائی حسین، پر محمد وآل محمد صلوات۔
Zainab has said, "O people, what has happened to my house? Yesterday it was so full. Now there's only emptiness." Zainab has said, "Oh people, what has happened to my house? Yesterday it was so full. Now there's only emptiness." Layla San'ani Akbar, who looked like my grandfather, he was killed by a spear. What has happened to my house? Yesterday it was so full. Now there's only emptiness. The guardian of my veil, Abbas, went out just to fetch water. He has lost his arms and was killed. What has happened to my house? Yesterday it was so full. Now there's only emptiness. أمي فروسن قاسم went for battle and fell. His body was trampled upon. What has happened to my house? Yesterday it was so full. Now there's only emptiness. Banu Sanani Asghar, who couldn't sleep in his cradle. He slept on the burning sand. What has happened to my house? Yesterday it was so full. Now there's only emptiness. My brother Imam Hussein, for whom I sacrificed my sons, I saw Shimmer slaughter him. What has happened to my house? Yesterday it was so full. Now there's only emptiness. Imam Zain al-Abidin, who was so ill in Karbala, he saw his father's head on a spear. What has happened to my house? Yesterday it was so full. Now there's only emptiness. Zainab has said, oh people, what has happened to my house? Yesterday it was so full. Now there's only emptiness. Zainab has said, oh people, what has happened to my house? Yesterday it was so full. Now there's only emptiness.
Ya Sadar wa Abdullah alayhi salam, salamun alaykum jami'an wa rahmatullah. I stand before you this evening with a heavy heart. None of us would have ever imagined going into the first 12 days of Muharram the way we have, and especially not the day of Ashura. However, as I said on the first night of Muharram, every household became a Husayniyya for these 12 days. One of the unique aspects of Islam is this idea of a dual dimension of existence or reality. The human being has an external body, and yet the reality is his or her soul. The verses of the Holy Quran have both an exoteric and an esoteric meaning. The actions we perform, whether it is prayers, fasting, or Hajj, have both a ritual and a spiritual dimension. In other words, almost everywhere we look, there is both a zahiri, meaning an external or outer dimension, and a batini, meaning an internal or inner dimension. And Azadari is no different. Azadari is commemorated differently based on culture, place, and time. Over the centuries, the form in which Azadari has been commemorated has evolved. While the form of certain acts of worship, like prayers or Hajj, for example, cannot change, Azadari is that act of worship whose form has changed and may continue to change. We commemorated this Muharram very differently. In 20, 30, 50 years from now, Azadari may look very different from what we know today. However, we need to realize that we are not the custodians of Azadari. Azadari is not alive because of us. We are alive because of Azadari. The flame that Hussein ibn Ali lit on the burning sands of Karbala on the 10th of Muharram, 61 after Hijrah, is burning ever so strongly almost 1400 years later. While we cannot control the form of Azadari as it will inevitably evolve, what we cannot lose sight of is the core and the essence of this act of worship. The purpose of this institution is to reform and revolutionize our characters so that we are more aligned to the characters of Hussein and Zainab than that of Yazid. That is our test every year. What have I taken away from the speakers that I have listened to or will listen to over the remaining 2 months? And how much of that will actually make a permanent difference in my life? Ultimately, when I stand before the mother of Aba Abdullah alayhi salam on the Day of Judgment, will I be able to hold my head high and say to her, "O Lady of Light, I did not get bogged down in the rituals or the form of Azadari, but I imbibed into my life the changes that Hussein and Zainab sacrificed everything for." That, mu'mineen, is the true essence of what is expected of us. And I need to answer for myself whether I have been stuck on the idea that the form of commemoration is not what I have been used to, or if I can elevate myself above the mundane and focus on the actual essence and purpose of these commemorations. Let me end with 2 beautiful couplets, which I would like to present first to myself and then to all of you. तख्लीक हम हुए हैं जो ज़हरा की दुआ से, तख्लीक हम हुए हैं जो ज़हरा की दुआ से, मंसूब हर एक सांस रहे कर्ब बला से. Our creation is an outcome of the dua of Zahra, and every breath of ours should be linked to Karbala. मजलिस को तमाशा न बना अपनी अना का, मजलिस को तमाशा न बना अपनी अना का, जहरा न चली जाए कहीं फर्श अज़ा से. Do not make the majlis or these commemorations of Aza an exhibition for your ego, lest Zahra decides to leave your gatherings of Azadari. Mu'mineen, having said this, on behalf of the community, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of our esteemed speakers and reciters. From Zakira Tahira Bai Qasim Ali on the ladies' side, to Sheikh Mujtaba Musa Muraj, Maulana Ali Murtaza Zaidi, Sheikh Tahir Rida Jafar, and Sayyid Asad Jafri. We have been honored to have you with us this year, some of you in person and others virtually, and we're indeed grateful to all of you for having shared your knowledge with us. We pray that the Almighty grant you increased tawfiq, and we hope that you will inshallah accept our invitations again very soon. For our Noha reciter, Brother Imran Datu, you infused spirit into our commemorations. And we're grateful to you for even having agreed to recite live for us during the last couple of days, despite the significant time difference. We pray that you are able to continue your service to the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam with the same passion and zeal. Can I request all of you to illuminate your homes by reciting a loud salawat for all of our speakers and reciters. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. I would be failing in my duty if I did not acknowledge the tremendous efforts of the Mukhi team, the AV team, the chairlady and her team, the secretariat and facilities teams for all of their hard work, guidance and assistance, as well as the ASL team. Finally, the Ashura Day Niyaz initiative would not have been possible without the tremendous outpouring of support from an army of volunteers, all of whom came to contribute their time towards this noble initiative. And there are a number of individuals whose contribution stands out head and shoulders over the others. But I hesitate to mention their names because I know that they're not serving for name or fame, but with sincerity of purpose. For all of our volunteers, we pray that you are rewarded in this world and the next for your efforts. Ameen. Can I request one more loud salawat for all of our volunteers, please? Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. A few very quick announcements before we proceed with the last Marthia and then Madlis. The Jafri Support Services is holding a Q&A discussion on Friday at 5 p.m. with Sayyid Asad Jafri, titled Seeking to Understand and Be Understood, Building Bridges Between Youth and Their Parents. Further details are on the slide and will be shared through the regular Jamaat social media channels. To register for the annual blood donor clinic at 10:30 a.m. on September 26th in Mississauga, please contact either Brother Jafar Walli or Brother Zuhair Ibrahim. The Al-Asr program, Muharram program for children aged 4 to 12 will begin this coming Saturday, September 5th, and will continue through to October 17th. The program for the 4 to 7-year-olds is at 2:30 p.m. and for the 8 to 12-year-olds at 3 p.m. Please visit jafri.org/Al-Asr Muharram for more details. And finally, the Masumin Tabligh and Children's Committee are encouraging children under 10 years of age to submit a video, piece of art, poster, or banner expressing how they view the events of Karbala. The submission deadline is September the 4th and can be emailed to tabligh@masumin.org. Submissions will be broadcast during the ISIJ programs from the 20th of Muharram through to the end of Safar. Can I now request a Surah Fatiha for all the marhumeen whose names are listed on the screen? Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim ghayri al-maghdubi alayhim wa lad-dallin. Can I now request a dua shifa for all those in need of our du'as? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
To hear the story of an orphan child whose beloved father looked at her so tender and mild. Now she lays all by herself, nobody there by her shrine. Put your heads down, let me take you to a different time. Take me away from this world and to heaven's door. I want to be with you, Baba, forevermore. Baba, come back to me, Baba. Baba, come back to me, Baba. How can I live in this world without you, Baba? Why did we come to this land of Karbala? What does it mean, Baba? What does it mean when they say I'm an orphan now? They say the daughter of Hussein has no father now. What did I do? Where are you? Please come back, Baba. Don't leave me here in this place. Take me home, Baba. Baba, come back to me, Baba. Baba, come back to me, Baba. Come back and see what they did to your girl, Baba. They slapped my face and they burnt my little dress, Baba. They burnt our tent and they stole all of our things, Baba. They took my veil and they ripped my earrings, Baba. They beat my aunt and they chained my sajjad, Baba. They have no shame and no heart, they're so cruel, Baba. Baba, come back to me, Baba. Baba, come back to me, Baba. Abbas will bring water from the banks of Furat. This is his word, and I know he won't break my heart. Where is he now, Baba? How can we stay apart? Why has he not returned? Where is my Ammu Baba? If my Abbas was here, he would protect me, Baba. Where is his flag? Why does it not fly anymore, Baba? Baba, come back to me, Baba. Baba, come back to me, Baba. Baba, where is Ali Asghar? Where did you take him to? Baba, his lips were so dry, but he could not tell you. And yet he smiled as he went to the battlefield. Our mother's pain is so deep, it will never heal. She said they shot him through the neck. Why, oh why, Baba? What could a 6-month little child do to them, Baba? Baba, come back to me, Baba. 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 اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد عظم الله لكم الأجر يا شيعة بقرب محرم وما هي إلا أيام وننادي يا حسين يا أبا عبد الله عظم الله لك الأجر يا رسول الله ويا أمير المؤمنين ويا فاطمة يا سيدتي نساء العالمين إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون، الذي لا يدركه بعد الحمم ولا يناله غوص الفطن، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين صاحب العصر والزمان خليفة الرحمن إمام الإنس والجان، ولعن الله وعداهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله وقوله الحق: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا لتكونوا شهداء على الناس. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the tawfiq and the guidance and the opportunity and the inspiration to once again give us 12 nights of an opportunity to better ourselves, to elevate ourselves, to rid ourselves of the shackles of our sins, the chains of our ignorance, and open up the prisons that we have put ourselves in time and time again. I am thankful to the ISIJ of Toronto for allowing me this opportunity once again and to be with you every single night for the past 12 nights. And the groups that Akil Bahai had mentioned in his announcements, in his short speech, I also want to second all of that. There are so many people that I know are behind the scenes, very anonymous. The programming committee, or the Mukhi team as Akil Bhai called them, my amazing, miraculous AV guys that sometimes go unnoticed. You know, sometimes a lot of you ask me, you know, do I give them verses ahead of time? And sometimes I do, but half the times either I don't use those verses or I surprise them with some other verses. And they're so quick in there that they pick up a couple of keywords, search that, and they put it on the screen before I'm even done reciting the verse. And forget verses, sometimes ahadith from the Ahlul Bayt, they can pick up keywords. And again, you know, this is all to make the experience now of an online Muharram this year a little bit more digestible. And so may Allah bless them. They're young guys, and I pray for them. I pray that they stand beside the Imam of their time. And you know, the programming, the volunteer team, the ladies committee, everybody, and specifically, you know, I really want to shout out and give my du'as to this guy right here, to Devin. And this year I didn't meet Devin personally, but of course, and if he's not doing ASL tonight, I look foolish pointing somewhere, but I'm assuming he's right here in this beautiful white box. And I just always appreciate what he does. And I'll say to him what I said to him 2 years ago when I met him here in this building, that what you're doing is part of God's work. And we're all in this trying to somehow revive God inside society. And he's also part of that, relaying the message of Karbala, whatever message I had to deliver out to every and any individual. Everybody has a right to be guided. And Devin was one individual that made sure that even those individuals who may be impaired in terms of their hearing were able to get to be guided. And just because I want to see him sign this right now, and I'm dying to see how he signs it, I want Devin to know, Devin, you look a lot better with a beard, my brother. All right, so go ahead and sign. I want to see you sign that. Devin, you look good with a beard. So don't shave that beard off, man. It brings, a certain look to your face, mashallah. But alhamdulillah, all of you have been on a journey with me for the past 12 nights, and we've been through our ups and downs, and every single feedback, the good, the bad, and the ugly that I got, I use all of it, and I read every single word of it, from the first night of Muharram to as recent as this morning. And all of it I absorb, and all of it I retain, and all of it I understand, and believe me, my point wasn't, or my purpose wasn't for any sort of shock value or to upset anybody, of course not. And this topic of social justice and what to talk about is very subjective to me. As a speaker, you're stuck with the fact that I believe that these were topics that needed to be addressed, just based on my experience, based on my conversations, based on what I'm seeing. And so, I wanted to thank all of you for going along in this journey. This journey through baked chicken, to hard pillows, to the mash and gravy at Popeyes, all of these different things that we traveled through. There was some nice content hopefully in between those three things, but nonetheless, it was there to maybe for us to kind of think about these things in a little bit of a different vision, a different perspective. Tonight being my concluding speech to all of you, and I tried to wrap it up the day before Ashura. There are many things left unwrapped. I want to make sure that I do my best tonight to wrap it all up and to leave all of you with a proper package. My attempt to simplify things across 12 nights, all those small details and big details, were all links to one reality and one chain. And believe me, all of these 12 nights were all very carefully orchestrated when to put what speech and what to put where to put the other speech. I begin my preparation for this Ashra every year months before, and I draw flow charts and diagrams. If this, then this. If not this, then this, and put this here, and make sure that if I want them to understand this, you have to make sure you talk about this. So everything that we talked about in the beginning that maybe we believed wasn't kind of connected, hopefully now you kind of see it all comes together. And if you haven't seen that yet, then hopefully end of tonight you'll see it. And if after that you don't see it, then it's my fault. And it's my deficiency as a speaker to all of you. The attempt now has been for all of us to absorb justice and absorb it into our spirituality and absorb it into our everyday life. Like I said before, such that any minute instance of injustice or any monumental moment of injustice, all of it we are sensitive towards and we are aware of. Be it rolling down your window and throwing litter out on the ground, be it running your water while you're brushing your teeth, be it going to a wedding and having a mountain full of food that you're only going to eat half of and you throw out the rest, be it buying and buying and buying in this era of consumption and consumerism, even though, we don't end up using sometimes all the things that we buy. All of that now has to be seen through the lens of justice. And one thing that I really want to get across is that it is a process. It's a process that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the moment that we begin that process, He begins to shower us with blessings. I cannot say it enough. I will continue to say it. We live in a result-driven society. We believe in a process-driven God. Everything in this society is based on results. Like I said before, imagine now you are applying for a job in a major corporation and they look at your resume, and under education, you say, didn't complete my bachelor's degree, but I tried really, 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 really hard. And that's it. And you're hoping, come on, man, I really hope I get that call. You're not gonna get that call. Now, you might be a better person than the guy who actually gets the job, but in a results-driven society, that's not gonna be enough. We can't apply that to God. God is obsessed with the process, obsessed with the path. Right? Surah Ma'idah, verse number 35. Another verse that I didn't give the AV guys that just popped in my head just now. And now they're going to scramble while I delay for them to get it, and they probably have it already. Surah Ma'idah, verse number 35. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullaha wabtaghul ilayhi alwasilata wajahidu fi sabilihi. Sabilihi la'allakum tuflihun. If you want to be successful, 3 ingredients. Be God conscious, seek Allah through an intermediary source, and number 3, and more importantly, which is connected to our discussion tonight, struggle on His path. Struggle. Struggle is a process, not a result. Everywhere you see where anyone now has gotten anywhere, they've struggled. They can never say, I got to where I've been. No, in fact, the highest urafa, you ask them, they say, I am the lowest servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ulama of the Hawza, they keep going in 15, 20, 25, 30 years. You ask them and they refer to themselves as a jahil. It's a constant process. But it's a process that we have to begin at home. You know, it's a saying that I used 2 years ago, and you know, the idea, it's not my saying, of course, you know, think globally, act locally. I talked about the idea of guidance in 2 years ago. This year it's about justice. We're worried about what's going to happen across the globe, Middle East, North America, you know, what's happening in this city and that city. That's all great. And if we attempt to tackle the enormity of it all, we're just going to get deflated. And I'm saying, yes, we worry about it at this massive level, at the rooftop view, but then when we funnel down, all we really can do is work on the 4 of us, the 5 of us inside of our home. And like a beautiful mosaic, you know what a mosaic is, right? A mosaic is this beautiful piece of art that's actually made up of small, different crystal-like pieces of art. Very, very small. Initially, when you kind of piece it together, you have no idea what's going on. It starts with one small piece. That one small piece is you, is me. And then those who rely on me for my nurturing, those who are dependent on me for their tarbiyat. Remember that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that if you're single right now, I have nobody. No, sometimes your younger siblings inside of your home look up to you and learn behavior from you and learn how to and how not to behave from you and end up having self-worth from you. Sometimes the first bully at home in their life is the bully, which is the big brother. And later on now, that could have ramifications. You think, oh, it's just classic sibling rivalry, and maybe it is. But if it gets to a point where it attacks a person's self-worth, then that's a problem. So even you now, this younger brother of yours, younger sister of yours, looks up to you and wants to be like you, dress like you, talk like you, walk like you. If you're using chopsticks, so is he. And while you think, oh my God, all they do is copy me, copy me, copy me, it's actually them wanting to be like you. Which means that what? They are completely free and open land, and you're the one who is a cultivator. As an older sibling. Then when you get married now, of course, then your spouse beside you, both of you together now, of course, travel towards Allah, and then your children. And then depending on your profession, my teachers out there, my principals out there, my ulama out there, my khutaba out there, you know, those, mashallah, those sisters who have spent time in the hawza, right? The alamas and the mulyanis and these beautiful, very pious individuals who are out there, talking about the path of the Prophet, be it males or females. All of them now have a role to play in this mosaic. And then once you place that one centerpiece being you and those around you, it begins to spread. Now you raise 3 just children. And your entire household is built on the form of justice. Now as they grow up, all they know, all they're accustomed to is justice. Now when they get married and they have their 3 kids now, the mosaic grows. Now you go from 3 kids now, mashallah, to 12 kids. Your kids and your grandkids now all scream justice because you planted the seed, right? They will raise their kids the way that they were raised themselves. And then they'll so on and so on and so forth. And that starts off with a very, very small local group of yours. You, your spouse, 1 child, 3 kids, 4 kids, 5 kids. The beauty sometimes of this whole quarantine thing for 5 months is that we've really kind of come together. Everything outside of us is closed. We've now kind of really relied heavily on each other. And hopefully, I pray to Allah that in these past 5 months, you as one cohesive unit has become just that, a cohesive, strong unit. You discovered things about each other. You found out things about each other. You ended up respecting things about each other. All of that is this mosaic. And then after a while, you have this beautiful picture of justice that's ready now to absorb the zuhur of the imam. That process is it's just so respected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that even if we end up leaving this world, and many have left this world and they haven't been able to experience that desired state of social justice, meaning the arrival of the imam. Such a respect for the process that in Dua Ahad, for example, in Dua Ahad, a dua that we renew the allegiance and the bay'ah of Imam al-Zamana every day, hopefully, inshallah, that dua, in there is a little small portion that if death was to fall upon me before your arrival, talking to the Imam of our time, if that was to happen, if I was to die before the arrival of the Imam, and that death, of course, is something that is very true and very natural, it can't be avoided, meaning if I die before seeing this ultimate victory, I lived my entire life preparing for the Imam, but I never got to witness the actual prevailing and the arrival of the Imam. If that death happens and I'm not able to see the manifestation of God's government on this earth, the dua says very beautifully, فَأَخْرِجْنِي مِنْ قَبْرِي مُعْتَزِلًا كَفَنِي Shahidan Sayfi Mujarratan Qanati. Beautiful. Look at the process. And I want to spend the first half of my speech tonight talking about the process. Take me out of the grave, such that my kafan is my libas, my kafan are my clothes. I have a shield in one hand, I have a sword in the other, ready to serve my imam. From where? From the grave. Allah respected that process of that marhum so much that He actually, gave him life again to re-enter this world and to stand beside the imam and give him what this person always died for, just to stand beside the imam during this final victory of social justice. Islam is a process. It's a climb. It's a monotonous, inch by inch, step by step journey. Okay? And the frustrating part is that it doesn't have a finish line. What? Yeah. We can never say that, okay, I've reached perfection. Okay, I'm perfect. Okay, I've reached the highest realm of spirituality. I can no longer do any more worship. I can no longer be a better version of me. No, there's a constant climb, a constant harakat. That means that Allah embraces the process. I have killed this point now, I think, for the past 10 minutes. You get it. The reason why I say it is because, sometimes we think, I'm not seeing anything. I'm doing everything. I'm posting, I'm protesting, I'm out there, I'm making people aware. I even talk to my parents about this. I talk to my family about what's happening in this country and that country, all over the Muslim world, and nothing seems to be happening. In fact, they come around, they ask me, what's happening? Where's your justice? And sometimes you just want to curl up on a ball and say, forget it, but we can't do that. Remember, qawameen from 2 days ago, qawameen bil qist, qawameen lillah, qawameen. I translate it as one who is constantly uprising, constantly maintaining, constantly establishing, constantly preserving the institution of justice. It's sigha mubaligha, right? Sajjad, one who constantly does prostration, is sajjad. Qawameen. The one who always, no matter what happens. Yes, there are days that you just want to say, forget it. There are days where you see a crack in the foundation. There are days where you see a little bit of daylight. But we can't stop. We cannot stop. Because what we want to do is, we want to take our actions in this world, and we want to make them eternal somehow, such that I can leave this world, but my legacy stays behind. That's why when we go in that world, and Imam Ali says, this is the world of amal, that's the world of hisab. Meaning what? Once we enter that world, our book is closed. That's it. One chapter that's always open is the legacy and the thawab and the goodness that we leave behind. Okay, look at Surah Rahman, right? Surah Rahman. Talks about, فَبِأَيِّ عَلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. In verses, I believe, 26 and 27, maybe I'm wrong, 25 and 26 maybe, Allah says, كُلُّ مَنْ عَلَيْهَا فَانٍ. Everything will perish. Okay? What will remain is وَيَبْقَ وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. What will remain, what will be baqi, what will not perish is the wajh of Allah, the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why do they tell us that? And then it's interesting, right after that, it says, how many of the blessings of Allah, of your Lord, will you deny? And the makeup and the construction of this verse of Surah Rahman, the way tafsir describes to us, is that sandwiched between this line that comes 31 times in a surah, how many of the blessings of your Lord will you deny? Sandwiched between this instance are blessings, some tafsir say. But some blessings are obvious, others are not. These two lines, right after that, Allah then asks that question, how many blessings? Meaning what? The idea that we will perish is a blessing of Allah. What does that mean? And the fact that Allah will remain is a blessing. What does that mean? The knowledge of us perishing and Him being eternal is a blessing. Why is it a blessing? Please follow me very carefully. Because we have a desire, an innate fitra need to be eternal, to live forever, right? One of the biggest businesses we have in North America is what? Is plastic surgery, right? Botox this, tuck this, remove this, just fake myself out from aging. So I look inside the mirror, even though my passport says that I'm 64 years old, the mirror says I'm 24 years old, bahba, mashallah. Hi, right? We're fooling ourselves. We just don't want to go towards the idea of being, what? Being perish or perishing. So we fake it, right? We do our best. We go backwards. We can't go backwards. We can't go backwards. Allah says you're perishing and Him being eternal is a blessing for you to know why. If you want to be eternal, then join the process with Him. The very simple example, a raindrop. One drop of rain falls from the sky, it has two options. On its way down, it has two options. The first option is, all I want to do is come onto this earth once, and that's it, and perish. The other option is for me to become eternal, for me to last a little bit longer. So that raindrop that just wants to be one and done, that raindrop will come and land on a sidewalk. Within hours now, the clouds are gone, the sun comes beaming down, the raindrop dries, evaporates, gone, khalas, nobody even knew there was rain here at one moment. The second raindrop says, no, I want more for myself. So he avoids, or she avoids the sidewalk, and the raindrop lands in the ocean. So long as the ocean is there, the raindrop is also moving along with the ocean. We can take our process in this world to land on this kullu man alayha fan, perishing world. We can take our process and drop it in the ocean of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's baqa, thus my process becomes baqa, such that I'm long gone from this world. They buried me, talqeen, fatiha, isal sawab, barsi, chamai, vomai, every mai happens, but the process that I left behind is baqi and eternal. That's what? That's absorbing it into your everyday life. Starting with your small local world. This is your village. These are your, all of 4 of you, 5 of you. If you live with your parents, 7 of you, whatever the case may be. Look at what the Holy Prophet says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajjil farajahum. Very powerful hadith. He says, لا تزول قدم عبد يوم القيامة حتى يسأل عن أربع. The feet of the slaves of Allah will not shake, tremble with fear on the day of judgment, يوم القيامة, حتى, until they're asked 4 questions. 4 questions. Meaning everything will go very smooth, everything will fly by. This is a piece of cake, day of judgment, this is great. The slaves of Allah flying through, just acing the day of judgment, and then they come across these 4 questions, and that's when they begin to shake. And the first question that they ask is, An umri fima afnahu. Oh. What path in your life did you perish on? Oh, what a beautiful question. Of all the various paths that you had to perish yourself on, to end yourself on, to sacrifice yourself. I don't mean physically. I mean just you, your principles, your value, your efforts, your process, your justice. What path did you fana yourself on? An umri fima afnahu. Everyone has to perish, right? That beautiful blessing in those 2 verses, we might think, oh, that's a very doomy and gloomy verse, that I'm going to perish. Oh, great. No, wait a second now. He's reminding you that, look, maybe your body isn't eternal, but what you leave behind can be. There's a legacy. Leave your legacy behind. Allah's going to ask you, what did you leave behind? Show me the path that you sacrificed on. Is that still going or not? Or there are people who have lived this life, gone, and there's no khabar, nothing, no idea what they did. Nothing. Walking corpses, Imam Ali says in Najm al-Agha, walking corpses in this world. Limbs are working, eyes can see, hear, sight, no problem, but inside they're dead. Those kind of people don't sacrifice anything in this world. Don't fana anything. Don't leave a process behind at all. So yes, it's very hard. This idea of justice is very hard, and it's very daunting. But it is our success. The success is ours to take. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. The mu'min will surely be successful. This qad we have in front of aflaha means hatman, sad, darsat, yaqinan, for sure. Certainly, the mu'min is successful. There's no doubt about that. Now it's up to us to convert us and our process into the mu'min's process. And we start off with justice inside of our homes. If that means that you raise your kids according to what they want, then so be it. Look, Aristotle has a very powerful statement, right? Aristotle, not a hadith by the Imam, but nonetheless another perspective from a very, very sharp mind. He says that in life there's one difficult path and hundreds of easy paths. Oh, very profound. One difficult path in life and 100 easy paths. The one difficult path in life is justice. The 100 easy paths are those paths that we encounter when we move away from justice. When we deviate from justice and we live a life of injustice, so many easy paths open. Imagine now not being guided or not being controlled by this inner conscious. Imagine now your zamir, that internal voice, not saying, what are you doing? There's no regret, no remorse, nothing. You're not worried about your actions affecting anybody, be it your spouse, or be it your kids, or be it your parents, or be it your God. Who cares? I'm not accountable to anybody, right? Complete and absolute animalistic freedom. I don't care about anyone's rights I'm trampling on. I care about myself. That's an easy life to live, right? It's very easy. What's hard is regret and remorse, thinking twice about, should I say this? Should I not say this? What about this person? What about that person? What about her? Did I just ruin her? It's daunting. It's difficult. You're watching these images on your Instagram feed of Yemen, Palestine, Kashmir, China, all these things. You're like, oh my God, I have to do something. And yeah, you might donate, let's say here and there, but it's not enough. That one difficult path, Aristotle says, is justice. The one difficult path in this life is justice. When you deviate from that path, everything becomes easy. Everything becomes easy. You're not answerable to anybody. And therein lies your destruction. Let me make one point perfectly clear to all of you, especially my young guys who are listening, and I have heard from everybody, all the young guys, from North America through Europe to Africa to my mates in Australia, all of them, all young guys, reached out to me. 11-year-olds, 15-year-olds. A mother telling me that my son is on the brink of atheism and is listening to you. If you're listening to me, listen up very carefully. We have to fight what is becoming slowly but surely the norms of this society. We have to engage in that battle with ourselves. And one of the norms that is coming up in our society that's already here is this spoon feeding sometimes of our youth and our youngsters and our kids that look, ease equals comfort, or ease equals value. Ease equals value. If it's easy, it's valuable. If it's difficult, leave it. It's not good for you. Now, they won't come out and say it, but subconsciously, always looking for the convenient, easy way out isn't always a solution. Because there'll come a moment where you have to struggle and struggle hard and go against the grain and become that person of distinction. When you don't have the proper tools to strive and sweat and strive and sweat, you won't be able to adjust to what is needed. If the course is too hard, if school is too hard, then we sit there and we convince our parents, education isn't the only way of learning, Mom. Okay? If the marriage is too hard, I'm still 22, 23, I'll divorce her, I'll ruin her life, but I'm still 23, I'm still a young guy, I can still get another girl. Meanwhile, she is divorced, right? And the label is there in the community. And for some reason, someone who's divorced all of a sudden now is not worthy of getting married in our community. I'm not going down that route, but it is utterly disgusting to me. If this job is too difficult, I enter my job. Within 2 months of the job, the person beside me is stressing me out. The hours are tough. The commute is too much. The boss is, he's a little bit weird with me. So what'd you do? I quit. You quit? Yeah, I quit. There's 1,000 jobs out there. It's not about 1,000 jobs out there. It's not about the fact that you might get another girl to get married. It's not about the fact that you want to drop out of school and find myself and backpack through the Himalayas. I don't know what you're doing, right? It's not about all those things. It's about the fact that you didn't embrace that struggle. You didn't fight through it. You didn't give yourself a chance to adopt a difficult process. That's what kills me, because there is an immense amount of khair and good at the end of the struggle. God says, Baba, please, man, just get through the struggle. I promise you, there's a rainbow at the end of the storm. And that rainbow will make you forget all about the storm afterwards, before, all of it. Because we think the Imam will come, and like I said before, confetti, balloons, jashan manenge, qaside padenge, oh my goodness, biryani, oh, the Imam is here, the Imam is here. Whoa, hold on. Not that simple. Somebody comes to you at your door, and Mr. Jaffer, yeah, we're having a little bit of a charity walk, for our hospital, let's say. Oh, okay, when is it? Oh, it's next March, let's say. Oh, okay, it's a 10K walk. Oh, a 10K walk? Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm in. And you sign up. 10K marathon, okay. 10 kilometers of you walking. Okay, like, oh, I can do it. How hard can it be? It's gotta walk, right? Like, buddy, you come out of your bathroom after brushing your teeth drenched in sweat for some reason. Why are you sweating? I just brushed my teeth. How hard are you brushing your teeth if you're coming out drenched in sweat? You're gonna walk 10K? You can't walk up the stairs. 10K. We think, oh, that's good, it's okay, I'll figure it out, don't worry. And the day comes, within 2K, you're gasping for air, you're on the ground, you want water on your face, pick me up, you're doing this signal, time out, I give up, white towels. Meanwhile, an 85-year-old buzzes right by you. I'll never forget my first and only Hajj that I did a couple of years ago. Never forget, my first and only Hajj. I never have been to Hajj. I read about Hajj, I started, all this, never been to Hajj. Didn't realize how much walking there is and how hot it gets in July in Mecca and Medina. I don't know what I was thinking, but I didn't think. So I remember we were walking, I think it was Mina, walking from our tents to Jamarat, and I'm just like, oh, I can't do it. And look to me, there's an 85-year-old, just bam. Boom, bam. I'm like, damn, look at that, 85 years old. And he gave me a smirk like, young guy. I'm like, whoa, wait a second now. Let's do this. So I walk with him. Gotta embrace it. So the Imam will come, we think, oh, okay, that's it, easy transition. No process, no beforehand work, no stretching, nothing. Baba, you wanna walk 10K, walk 1K today, 2K tomorrow, 3K tomorrow, a month before now, begin to, get yourself going, 8K, 9K, 10K will be no problem. It's a whole process. And if you don't get to that 10K, if the 10K is canceled, it never happens again, hey, you know what? You become a walker now. My point is, very silly example, I'm sorry. My point is that we need to begin that process from now, absorb it from now. Okay? Because ultimately, it's our success. Those of us who refuse now to tell ourselves that I want to now absorb, or I want to now forget the justice and just keep quiet about the injustice. And remember now, as you've heard many times, right? The silent majority are those individuals who sometimes cause the most damage. Look at Surah Qasas. Surah Qasas talks about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describing the future abode. Tilkul darul akhiratu. The future abode is what naj'alaha, are for those, lilladhina, are for those, la yuriduna uluwan fil ardi wala fasada, are for the ones who don't walk on the earth with an ego and don't do corruption, don't want corruption. That's who the abode, meaning the success of the hereafter, are for those who have no ego, who have no elitism, who there's no me, fil ard in this very world, and they don't do fasad. They don't cause corruption. They don't cause any sort of issues. Wala fasada. And then Allah, just in case we are confused, He says the aqibat is what? Lil muttaqeen. The ultimate success hereafter are for the pious ones. You can reach that result or not. You can get to that ultimate victory or not. You can experience and witness the arrival of the Imam or not. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will embrace your process. And if you do the process correctly, I could be long gone, my process remains. Why? I took my process and I dropped it in the ocean of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Embrace the process of social justice. Begin with yourself, expand your mosaic out to your children and your spouse, to your parents, to anyone else, let's say, who's looking for any guidance from you, and begin to create your beautiful image of social justice. We live in Stouffville, right? Stouffville's up north of Markham now. It's one of the greatest places on earth. Stouffville is one of the greatest places on earth. There's Mecca, Karbala, Najaf. Somewhere along there is Stouffville, Ontario. I kid. Please don't send me hate mail. I kid. And there's a little park behind our house. Sometimes we take our kids when we are crazy. We take our kids for a walk, let's say, all three of them. And there's a little body of water behind the house. Okay? So we go to the park and, and we swing for a bit, and then we let our kids swing for a bit. It's a joke. And then we end up going to the body of water. And there's rocks there. So what do? We throw the rocks in. So one time, me and my daughter had a con. Let's see who can throw the furthest. Right? And just so I don't bruise her ego, because she has no problem bruising my ego, right? Because I'm not the top five. She throws it the furthest. And it was amazing. After a while, we would see the rock land in the middle of the water, and then this ripple effect would begin from the water, right? From that one small, literally a small pebble, but it kept going and going and going, and you would see circle upon circle upon circle upon circle, and it would just keep going. She said, look, Baba, look, Baba, look, Baba. And that was my teachable moment. Now, I talked about sins at that moment. This is exactly how our sins are. Sometimes one sin has such a ripple effect. And what is tawbah? As Agha Panahiyan talks about, tawbah, repentance is to stop that ripple effect. But here in our mosaic of social justice, that one rock of justice that I myself can throw can now have such a ripple effect that expands everywhere. Everywhere. From those who are with us and beside us, to those, of course, who are indirectly connected to us. Collectivism, collectivism, collectivism. Because the reality is, this is my last point and then Masaib. The reality is that this society will not get any easier. It's not like this switch will turn on. All of a sudden now, those who are the oppressors will say, whoa, what are we doing here? We're oppressing. No, sorry. If one goes, the other one comes. If one goes, and it has to happen that way. We talked about the need for evil, what's 8 nights ago, 9 nights ago. Those are all linked to tonight. And the other reason why I want to mention why it's important that the process now is important, for this reason. That because this idea that this society is going to have to go towards darkness, and we're going to have to somehow clutch onto the light as the darkness gets darker and darker around us. It's because when the Imam comes, it won't always be a simple battle. It won't be. If you examine why there was such resistance, let's start from the Prophet of Allah. I can go all the way back to all of the prophets, but Prophet of God, Imam Ali, all the way through the 11 Imams, and by extension, we'll talk about the 12th Imam's process. Where was there some resistance? The resistance came from those who didn't accept the lifestyle that the Imams of Prophet were trying to establish. The Prophet of Allah came into Mecca and Medina. The biggest problem Abu Sufyan had with the Prophet of Allah was what? That he was looking to destroy what was social norms in society. Please follow me. My last point, and then Masaib, and then you're free of this face. You're free. Social norms. Now let me define what social norms are, right? Social norms does not mean that everyone's doing it. Like the burying of daughters alive, sometimes I know I had for the longest time the misconception that every girl that was born was buried alive. No, not the case. Only a few tribes did it. Otherwise, we have mothers and we have women and we have aunts and we have sisters and we have, obviously. I mean, there's, generations are moving forward, right? You need a woman for that, right? So not everyone was doing it. So a social norm is not that everyone does it. Please follow me, especially my young guys. A social norm is not that everyone's doing it. It's that a few are doing it, but the rest are okay with it. Are okay with it. What I mean by okay with it, either they're quiet or they're silent, or in the hearts of their hearts doesn't bother them. Imagine now a person now, digging a grave with his newborn girl right beside him. And I walk by the qabristan, the cemetery, and say, what are you doing? He says, I'm just going to bury my newborn. Okay, and you move on. You're like, at least say something. At least say something. And God forbid if we're ever asked, how come you didn't say anything to that person? What answer would I give him? So social norm is not everyone's doing it. A few are doing it and the rest are just accepting it. It becomes normal after a while, right? It becomes every day after a while. You become oblivious to the evil effects of it. Even in the beginning, it's like, oh, what? Now it's like, oh yeah, of course. I said by everyone's doing it, okay. If I can use my parents' logic, if everyone jumped off a bridge, would you? And I would roll my eyes when I heard that, but that's pretty sound logic. Now, if everyone sat there burying dollars alive, what would happen? So a social norm is not everyone. So the Prophet came to do what? Destroy those social norms that were destroying society. Not everyone's going to welcome that and say, okay, no, this is what we know, this is our custom. We've lived our life like this for many, many years. Who are you to come in and change everything? So there's no absolute acceptance. No, there's bound to be some resistance. And there was huge resistance. At sometimes the most extreme type. Name calling, throwing rocks, banishing, sanctions. God knows what they did to the Prophet of Allah. Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. Look at what George Gordak says. George Gordak, a Christian Lebanese writer, the author of The Voice of Human Justice. In there he writes a beautiful line that hits my heart every single time. He says, if one person in history can be called a martyr, a shaheed, while they're alive, oh, a shaheed is a shaheed when their life is over. A martyr is a martyr when they've passed away or they've been killed on that very path. But he says the only one person that might be able to be called a shaheed or a martyr while alive is Ali on the path of justice. If you were a governor for Imam Ali during his Khilafat al-Zahiri of 4 years and 9 months, if you were a governor of Ali, you were very blessed. If you were a governor of Ali, you're also in big trouble. The blessing of being a governor was for you, and the difficulty of being a governor for you. The blessing was what? I'm a governor of Ali. The hardship is I'm a governor of Ali. He held you to the same standard that he held himself at. Family members begging him extra money, extra money, extra money. Tribesmen coming, individuals now saying, look, I will give you my support when obviously you need it. I need extra from this, extra from that. He wouldn't budge. Wouldn't budge. Staunch. Staunch. The very reason why he got killed. Maybe that's why he announced his success. I didn't move from my process. Didn't move from my path. Maybe this dunya didn't give me what I wanted. Maybe my ghadir was taken from me, but I didn't leave the path. In fact, he says in Nahj al-Balagha, to the point where the ummah came at my door begging me to be their khalifa, my Hassan, my Hussein were almost crushed against the walls of the house, and they were pulling at my Abba, and then I accepted. But he says one word, one line that I love to the nation. If you want me to be your khalifa, Ana rajulun fa'al. I'm a man of action. Meaning what? I'm a man of the Sharia. I don't play with the Sharia. I don't gift corrupt leaders, the land called Sham because they went and conquered it for me. That's not who I am. And so on and so forth. You mark anybody from Imam Mujtaba all the way down, all of them. The resistance came from the fact that the people weren't ready for their version of life, the Imam's version of life. We have the exact same thing for Imam Zamana. He's going to come. Some reports say, and there's different reports, come, arrive in Mecca, announce his arrival, go to Jerusalem. Nabi Isa will meet him there. He'll be assigned his role, Nabi Isa will. After that, the Imam will go to Kufa. Kufa will be his capital of his government, just like Imam Ali's was. Why Kufa? Why Kufa? Not important, at least right now. Some reports say, and Shahid Mutahari now reports this, that as he enters Kufa, there'll be a group that will actually put their hand out like this. Stop. You can go back to where you came from. We don't want your teachings. Why? The reason why they don't want his teachings, because they know he's going to come and erase those social norms and replace them with Islamic norms. And we have now distanced ourselves so far from those true textual Islamic principles in the book that everything that is corrupt might seem norm to some of us. Now the Imam will come, and yes, you know, the one tradition that drives our youth crazy is that it says that he's going to bring a religion that is unrecognizable. Does that mean that, Asad Bhai, we're not on the right path? And no, it doesn't mean that. It means that we have watered down the version of the deen so much that yes, compared to that actually deen Muhammadi, it's unrecognizable. It is. You can't walk 10K overnight when you can't walk up the stairs. You can't embrace the zuhur of the Imam unless the process of justice begins with you today. Unless we ask ourselves very uncomfortable, difficult questions. Are there social norms in this society that I have adopted in my own personal life that I know in the hearts of my hearts that goes against the Imam's mission? If so, please do not embrace the slogan, when the Imam comes, I'll fix myself. The 10K marathon walk isn't going to happen. After 1K, flag up. After the Imam comes, God forbid we're like the people of Kufa. No, thank you. Or the people of Kufa of Imam Hussein. Thousands of letters. Mawla, we're your team. Mawla, we're your team. Not one. Gharib Kufa Muslim, my salams to you. Not one. A little bit of fear. A little bit of khawf and ju and naqs al-aman, a little bit of fear and hunger and loss of life and loss of selves, and they're gone. A little bit of a shake. They're gone. I'm saying that a lot of us have conveniences today. We have time today to work on our mosaic, to work on that, the ripple of the pond, of the rock in the pond. We have a lot of time to contemplate and think about the fact that are there social norms, be it the way that I dress, be it the social media things that I post, be it the things that I watch. Just desensitized every day. And we think, oh, no effect, I'm a grown man, I'm 41 years old. These things don't affect me anymore. If I was 50, maybe. No, wait a second now. Wait a second, you can stand outside the blacksmith all day long, not even enter the door, and your hands are bound to be black, a proverb says. Don't underestimate the power of influence around you. Embrace the process, stay the path, victory is yours. Victory is yours. Don't leave the path. Even if your body is buried 6 feet under, and the path and the process that you laid behind is dropped in the ocean of Allah, that's still your victory. They'll talk about your legacy decades after you're gone. There's some of our marhumin who are long gone. You mention their name, people cry like the mayat was yesterday. Then there are those who don't leave any legacy. An umri fima afnahu. What path did you perish your life on in this world? Because you are fana, you're fani, you're going to perish. Allah is baqi. It's up to you. If you want to feed that internal need that internal need to be eternal, then place the drop of rain in the ocean, Baba. Ocean is there, the drop is there. Don't search for cement to dry, evaporate, such that the Imam comes and we're nowhere to be found. I humbly ask you, I ask myself first in my own small mosaic of the 4 of us at home, 5 of us at home. Embrace the concepts of justice inside your home. And that means that you and your spouse, if you are blessed with both parents and both of you are there, sit down and say, what kind of family do I want to raise? What kind of family do I want to raise? And then make very difficult decisions, but don't let go of that desired family union. If that means that we stop going to certain events, if that means that we stop wearing certain clothes, if that means we stop going to certain things or watching certain things in front of our kids, then so be it. If that means that we take this out and take that out, remove this, strip this, I don't know, stop paying for this, then so be it. But don't lose sight of that process. This is what we want to become. Now you work and you work and you work and Allah opens up paths. الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لِنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Allah says, for the one now who struggles in our way, I will open up the doors for you, man. Path upon path upon path. But the shart, the condition is الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا. Struggle, struggle, struggle. Allah wants koshish, not kamal in Urdu. Wants struggle, not infallibility from you. And right now, there's no better process to struggle for than justice in the heart of your hearts and in your small global village. Then you can say, I'm doing my best. If I can make these people just, I'm helping the people of Yemen indirectly. That maybe they might grow up now to be individuals who can recognize that injustice, recognize the injustice of society, and fight now to avoid it. And Karbala was an entire encompassing, summarizing version of this very point. As I mentioned in my Sham-e Ghariba Majlis last night, Karbala was that battle that gave everybody a chance, an opportunity to choose their own destiny. Yazid had taken falsehood to a point where it was drastic. This man was drinking alcohol, killing innocent lives, a fasiq. At least his father Muawiyah would somehow cover it up, but this person, absolutely not. And that's why many people ask me, why do we curse Yazid, curse Yazid? Everybody openly curses Yazid. Everybody does. Very few people might, God forbid, say, may Allah be pleased with him. Very few. Otherwise, the majority of the Shia Sunni world don't accept him to be a proper man, let alone a Khalifa of Allah. So his name, yes, is seen in places, in du'as and ziyarats. There's a reason for that. And Imam Hussein knew that my drastic sacrifice, my Ali Asghar, my Abbas, my Qasim Ona Muhammad had to be there. My blood had to be spilled for an answer for that drastic injustice. The blood of my justice had to be spilled. And he also knew that that wasn't enough. Someone had to take that blood from Karbala and carry it forward. And Zainab's journey has begun. I was just listening to a speaker this afternoon telling me that some historians don't even say the Reva Ashura is the most difficult day. Some say that the 11th of Muharram is one of the most difficult days. Because just yesterday, everybody was there. Everybody was there. Yes, they're about to give their life. But there's something about just their presence. Sakina wasn't as worried as she is now. Why? She saw my Chacha Abbas is in front of me. Zainab wasn't as worried as long as she heard Bhaiya Hussein's voice. But this is now the 11th of Muharram. The Maidan of Karbala is filled with the flowers of the Shohada of Karbala. Bibi Zainab now about to leave all of these beautiful, beautiful Shohada, from small children to elderly ashab, and carried the mission of her brother forward. In tonight's Masaib, I just want to relay one conversation with all of you at the Masadua. When Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam on the 19th morning of Shahr Ramadan was struck with the sword of Ibn Muljim. After 3 days, the doctor came, Hakim came and said, Mawla, the poison has spread. The chances of survival is very little. It's only a matter of moments now, perhaps. Start your nasihat to your children. Give your advice to your children. So he began to talked about the imamate of Imam Mujtaba, gave instructions to individuals. And then he called for Zainab. This was the same Zainab that when Imam Ali was first struck with the sword and the call of Jibreel that the pillars of guidance now have been broken, Ali has been killed, Imam Mujtaba, Imam Hussein ran towards the masjid. The first image they saw was Imam Ali now lying in a pool of his own blood, picking up the dirt and putting it on his head. They began to cry. Imam Ali says, Hassan, Hussein, no crying, no crying. Wipe your tears, wipe your tears, wipe your tears, wipe your tears. He's brought back to the house for the first time, wrapped up. He's brought inside his special hujra, special room. He's sitting on the takht, let's say for example. The door opens and now in walks Zainab. Zainab, Zainab, the word Zainab means the zinat of her father, the beauty of her father. Those who have daughters, you know, there's just something special about the way that your daughter looks at you when something's bothering you, her, when something's upsetting her, you know right away, what's wrong? Come here. And the moment that she gets inside of your lap, she doesn't say a single word. She just starts to cry. And you let her cry. You let her cry. Say, Hua kya? What happened? What happened? Tell me what happened. Bibi Zainab opens the door, looks at her father Ali. There's now blood and a band-aid. And she looks at her. Her eyes drop and she begins to cry. Imam Ali, when Hussein cried, stop crying. When Hassan cried, don't cry. When Hussein and Hassan cried, no crying. But the moment that Zainab shed the first tear, Imam Ali couldn't help himself. He begins to cry, Mawla Ali, one tear of Zainab, and you begin to cry. Yesterday she was on Tila Zainabiyya, Umar ibn Saad. This is the son of Fatima. He sits down Zainab and says, Zainab, as a father, I have some advice for you. Ji Baba. Yes, Baba. This Kufa that we're in right now, it's going to be the same Kufa that does this to you and that to you and this to you and that to you. Telling her all about the musibah after Ashura. This will happen, be patient. That will happen, be patient. This will happen, be patient. This will happen, be patient. And she's sitting there with her head down listening. Ji Baba, yes Baba, Na'am Baba, yes, yes, yes. And when he's done, Bibi Zainab looks to Imam Ali now, says, Baba, I'll be patient. Baba, I'll be patient. But can I ask you a question, Baba? If I ever ask you for help, will you come and help me? Of course I will. Bibi Zainab now arrives in the 2nd of Muharram. She hears the word Karbala, begins to cry, realizing this is the land where Hussein's blood will be shed. She doesn't ask Ali for help. Oh no, Muhammad brought back from the Maidan. Abbas brings On. Hussein brings Muhammad. Laid down, she opens the khayma. She sees her 2 shahzadas on the ground. Doesn't ask Ali for help. Ali Akbar now is brought back to the khayma. Zainab, come and give me portion for Ali Akbar. Doesn't ask Ali for help. Abbas's right arm doesn't ask Ali for help. His left arm doesn't ask Ali for help. Hussein's cry, the horses cry, قَدْ قُتِلَ حُسَيْنٍ بِكَرْبَلَا. She doesn't ask Ali for help. All the way from Karbala to Kufa to Sham, she doesn't ask Ali for help. She enters the courtyard of Yazid. 1 door open, she enters. 2 door open, she enters. 7 doors to Yazid's courtyard. The 6th door opens, she enters. When the 7th door opens, there standing in front of Zainab is a courtyard that's filled with men, non-mahram men, and their disgusting eyes. Hundreds and hundreds of men waiting for this qafla now to enter the courtyard. The daughter of Ali stops and says, Sajjad, I can't enter this courtyard. I'm the daughter of Fatima. I'm the daughter of Fatima. When Imam Sajjad says, Pupi Amma, I'm with you. The Imam of your time is with you. Let's go a little bit more patient. I'll walk with you. I'll be with you. At that moment, Zainab says to Sajjad, Sajjad, you're the Imam of my time. You're my wali. You're my hujjat. I will do whatever you say. Just answer me one question. Which way is it to Najaf? Zainab now. Move towards Najaf. Baba, your Zainab now is asking you for help. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون ماتم حسین یا حسین یا حسین
کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ عباس کے بازو یا بابا کا سینہ کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ عباس کے بازو یا بابا کا سینہ کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ عباس کے بازو یا بابا کا سینہ کانوں سے چینے گوہر اور آگ تھی دامن میں گھبرائی ہوئی بچی یہ کہتی رہی رن میں ہے کوئی جو مجھ کو پہنچا دے مدینہ کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ عباس کے بازو یا بابا کا سینہ رن سے علی اصغر کو لے آؤ میرے بابا سونا نظر آتا ہے بھائی کا میرے جھولا اصغر کے بغیر اب مجھ کو نہیں جینا کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ عباس کے بازو یا بابا کا سینہ یہ شام کے زندہ میں دیواروں کو تکتی ہے کیا سوچ کے یہ جانے دن رات سے سکتی ہے بچھڑی ہے چچا سے جب سے یہ حزینہ کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ عباس کے بازو یا بابا کا سینہ دنیا سے سدھارے ہیں بھائی جو میرے پیاسے جب تک نہیں لوٹیں گے امو میرے دریا سے میں نے پانی نہیں پینا کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ عباس کے بازو یا بابا کا سینہ احمد کے نواسے کو مارا ہے محرم میں 40 برس روئے سجاد اسی غم میں تاریخ پکاری ہے غم کا مہینہ کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ عباس کے بازو یا بابا کا سینہ کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ عباس کے بازو یا بابا کا سینہ کیا ڈھونڈ رہی ہے جنگل میں سکینہ عباس کے بازو یا بابا کا سینہ یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
जब रिदा सर से छीनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छीनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी आले इमरान कहाँ और जिंदान कहाँ ये बहन खैर हुई तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छीनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी हमको पानी ना मिले तेरी खुशबू तो रहे तेरे बाजू न कटे चाहे मशकी जाची दे ये मगर हो न सका तेरे बाजू है जुदा मुझ पे है तशना लबी तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छीनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी धूप में तू था शजर तुझसे आबाद था गर है बरहना मेरा सर क्या नहीं तुझको खबर ए अलमदार वफा इस बहन को बखुदा तुझसे दास्ती बरी तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छीनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी आ गई शाम अलम लुट गए अहले हरम रैद पर जलती हुई हो गया ठंडा अलम पुरसा देने के लिए मुझसे मिलने के लिए आ गए बाबा अली तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छीनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी क्या कहूँ शेर में बेरिदा हमको लिए ये मुसलमान सारे शहर दर शहर गए खिलकत कूफा कभी खिलकत शाम कभी और हम पे हंसी तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छीनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी कितनी बेबास थी बहन ए शहंशाह वफा नाम ले के मेरा जब ये जालिम ने कहा नाज था जिस पे तुझे अब बुलाओ ना उसे और मैं रोती रही तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छीनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी जब रिदा सर से छीनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी या हुसैन حسین
زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، روتی ہوئی بازار سے، روتی ہوئی بازار سے دربار میں جانا، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، حق تھا کہ ردا دیتے مگر وہ بھی نہیں دی، دربار میں زہرا کی طرح جب تو گئی تھی، افسوس تیرا رتبہ، افسوس تیرا رتبہ بھی لوگوں نے نہ جانا، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، وہ جلتے ہوئے خیمے، وہ پیاسوں کی صدائیں، خاموشی پہ وہ درے، وہ رونے پہ جفائیں، تب دست ستمگار سے، تب دست ستمگار سے وہ بچوں کو بچانا، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، پردے میں کنیزیں ہے، سر بزم ہے زینب، دربار میں رو رو کے یہی کہتی تھی زینب، امت کا تیری کیسا، امت کا تیری کیسا ہے انصاف یہ نانا، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، جس بی بی کا سایہ بھی نہ دیکھا تھا کسی نے، وہ بھیڑ میں لوگوں کی رسن بستہ کھڑی ہے، اور کہتی ہے فضا سے، اور کہتی ہے فضا سے کہ غازی کو بلانا، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، سجاد لہو روتا رہا شام میں ہر دم، پردوں کا وہ غم اس پہ قیامت سے نہ تھا کم، عابد کا وہ غم ہو کے، عابد کا وہ غم ہو کے ہی بازار سے جانا، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ، ہے مقصد تخلیق صاحب اپنا زاگی ماتم کا بچھے فرش جہاں بھی کبھی موشی تب نوحہ وہاں پیاسوں تب نوحہ وہاں پیاسوں کی غربت کا سنانا زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ زینب کی غریبی کو نہ بھولے گا زمانہ نہ بھولے گا زمانہ
السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء السلام عليك يا علي المرتضى السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا علي الزين العابدين ومحمد الباقر وجعفر الصادق وموسى القادم وعلي الرضا ومحمد تقي وعلي النقي والحسن العسكري ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن وكابة الإيمان وإمامنا وإمام الإنس والجن عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل الله تعالى مخرجه وظهوره ورحمة الله وبركاته